All right, quadratic functions, worksheet 17, factoring trinomials. So if you'll remember, you don't really need to write this part down right now, but I just want to show you, just in case you don't remember. If I had x plus 4x times 1. You remember we worked on these two different ways. We either did it in the box. So we did x plus 4, x plus 1, and then we just multiplied everything. So x times x is x squared, x times 1 is 1x, 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 1 is 4. We write down the x squared. We write down both of these, or just go ahead and add them. I'm going to write them down this time. 4x plus 1x plus 4. And then we add these to get the middle term. Okay, if we do that, multiplying 4x plus 4 and x plus 1 gives us, we square the first one, x squared, then we add the 4 and the 1, we get 5, and then we multiply the 4 and the 1 to get 4. Okay, that was the shortcut. Remember, if there was nothing in front of the x's, we could just add the 4 and the 1 to get the 5, and then we could multiply the 4 and the 1 to get the 4. So we are going to go backwards from that. So I hope you were listening and knew that you didn't need to write all that down, because we are just going to go backwards. So what we're going to look for is we're going to look for the numbers that multiply to give us 4, and those are called factors. That's why we're factoring. We're going to find the numbers, the factors of 4 that add up to 5. All right, so our factors of 4 are 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. All right, so 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4, and then we need to add up to positive 5. So this pair here adds up to 5. And all we have to do is go x plus 1, because that's one of them, and x plus 4. All right, so let me do another one that's similar to that. I should have done this worksheet slightly differently. Here's one that's a plus with a minus because they're slightly different, but it's the same thing. So we go factors of 6, 1 times 6 and 2 times 3, that are going to add up to negative 7. Now, let me show you on here too. You have to remember, so if you don't know the factors, you can go 6 divided by x on the calculator and go in the table, and that will give us our factors. So say 1 times 6 and 2 times 3, but also negative 1 times negative 6 and negative 2 times negative 3. So since we need to add up to negative 7, we need to change all these to negatives to get up to negative 7. So there we go. So we have x minus 1 and x minus 6. All right, now it's a little different. It is a little different. Hold on one second. When the C term is negative, because if I put this in here and I go y equals negative 14 divided by x, to find me my factors, if you'll notice the factors are, one of them is negative and one of them is positive to equal a negative number when we multiply. So that means one of them is going to be negative and one of them is going to be positive. And what you know is that the bigger one, because we're going to add them, so the bigger one ends up needing to be positive. So if I write my factors, and 1 and 14 and 2 and 7. The bigger one needs to be positive, and the smaller one needs to be negative. So I'm going to make these smaller ones over here negative. All right. So now, which ones add up to positive 5? 7 and negative 2. If I'm looking on here, I have negative 14 and 1 is negative 11. Negative 7 and 2 is negative 5. So that's not the one. But they are 5 apart. So all you would have to do is switch the signs. But you can also just keep going down until you find positive 7 and negative 2 is positive 5. So x minus 2, x plus 7. So if you're doing the factors on the calculator, just look until you find the positive one. Or if this were negative, it would be the negative one. I'll do one like that in a minute. If you're doing it by hand, 1 and 14, 2 and 7, you just need the bigger one to be whatever that sign is, so it ends up being positive in this case, and in this case down here, it would end up being negative. So we go 1 and 3 is the factors of 3, and the bigger one needs to be negative. So those are our only choices. So we're going to do x plus 1, x minus 3. I normally do just evens or odds, but this page I wish I had done in a different way. So, yep, I think I'm going to leave the rest of those for you to do. Let's see how many I did. Oops. I'll do one more with a negative. So factors of 18, and we'll use the calculator for this one. So factors of 18, negative 18. Negative 18 divided by x. We go on the table. And we're looking for ones that add up to negative 3. So 1 and 18, 2 and 9, and 3 and 6. And the bigger ones need to be negative. So which ones add up to negative 3? This one. If you're just looking here, you could go negative 18 minus, negative 18 plus 1 is negative 17, negative 7, negative 3. So that would be the one. Okay, so x plus 3, x minus 6. All right, I'll leave the rest of those for you to do. Please make sure you ask me if you have any questions, because this can be kind of hard at first.